There's a limit to what a man can take. And Trump just hit his limit and has issued a chilling warning. For those that sought to attack him, for those that did attack him, for those that persecuted and prosecuted him, mocked him, dehumanized him, ridiculed him, leading in an unfortunate event, targeted, left unprotected, and shot. Well, he hit his limit now. And those that sought to stop him are praying that he does not get into office based on a statement just released. Trump has laid down what some would call a threat. Others will call justice with one simple statement. He will spend the rest of his life in prison, as will others. To borrow a line from Woody Guthrie, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, Trump's enemies have now received this message. We are watching closely, and your quote-unquote plot against the president is now known and will have catastrophic consequences if I, Donald J. Trump, is elected president. And that's the story we're going to bring you in just 1 minute. So before we get started today, Lisa just wanted me to take a brief pause. First, to make sure you're subscribed to her channel. If you're new here, we'd love you to subscribe. Also, she'll put a link to my channel above if you can click on it. And I hope you know by now, and if you appreciate all the work that Lisa has done over the years, and many, many years it is, and the work I've done, she created something more for you, something to give you more news, something to give you stories that can only be found at restrictedrepublic.com. If you're watching the news, you know why we push it so hard right now. It is imperative that you get there. There's so much we want to give you. And in exchange for your membership, we just give you more news, referenced and researched. That is restrictedrepublic.com. Use discount code INDEPENDENCE. That's $4 a month for 2 years. You can cancel anytime. 14 days free to check out the platform. There's a reason we put in so much time, so much money, and so much effort, all our own, because no one else will control the message but us. That is restrictedrepublic.com. Come and find out how so many thousands have joined us there, and be a part of the Restricted Republic family today. Please don't wait. RestrictedRepublic.com, discount code INDEPENDENCE in monthly checkout. But now, let's get back to the story. So I told my audience, not more than just a day or so ago, do not trust what Mark Zuckerberg is saying right now. This on Politico will relate back to what Trump has now issued as a warning. Zuckerberg says he regrets caving to White House pressure on content. And I said, oh, poor me, right? Don't believe it for a moment. There is something else behind this story. Going down in the article, just as a refresher, and I'll go full screen so you can read along with me. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret, says Zuckerberg, that we were not more outspoken about it. I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to pressure from any administration in either direction, and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again. Did you trust him? I certainly didn't. I know what he's done to our stories prior. Zuckerberg also expressed regret for Meta's downplaying of content related to coverage by the New York Post about Hunter Biden ahead of the 2020 election that the FBI warned may have been rooted in Russian disinformation operation, which of course we now know is entirely false. It's since been made clear that the reporting was not Russian disinformation, he stated, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story, but you already got your end result, didn't you? Republicans on the committee, led by Ohio Representative Jim Jordan, celebrated the letter in a long series of posts on X, calling it a big win for free speech. Well, I do not agree with Jim Jordan on that, because this is not a victory. If Jim Jordan just listened to Donald J. Trump, he would know it's not a victory. Former President Donald Trump railed against Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, the chief nerd on Twitter. Check him out. In his upcoming book, accusing the tech tycoon of undermining him in the last election and warning of possible jail time. This book about to come out. You can pre-order it now on Amazon. It's called Save America. And it has a lot to do with this donation, $420 million. Priscilla Chan and Mark Zuckerberg increased support for safe and reliable voting by 19.5 million. They added 20 million to their total to get to 420 million. But there's something about that Donald J. Trump has not forgotten about. And he now warns Mark Zuckerberg, and others, mind you, that they could spend the rest of their life in prison. This title on the New York Post. Politico releasing a lot of this information in their article titled Trump Claims Zuckerberg Plotted Against Him During the 2020 Election in soon-to-be-released book. What did he say specifically? This book, again, called Save America. There's an updated photograph of Trump meeting with Zuckerberg in the book, according to Politico. Under the photo, Trump writes that Zuckerberg would come to the Oval Office to see me. He would bring his nice wife to dinners, be as nice as anyone could be, while always plotting to install shameful lockboxes in a true plot against the president. Referring to that $420 million contribution we just discussed. He doesn't stop there. He told me there was nobody like Trump on Facebook, but at the same time, and for whatever reason, steered it against me. Trump continues. We're watching him closely, and if he does anything illegal this time, he will spend the rest of his life in prison, as will others who cheat in this 2024 presidential election, quote, unquote, said by Donald J. Trump. And shockwaves can be felt. So isn't this all go to explain more now this House Judiciary post that came out? Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans, they state. Facebook censored Americans, they state. Facebook throttled the Hunter Biden laptop story. I know some would call that old news. Vox is about to, and I'll tell you why they're doing that. So what happens? Mark Zuckerberg writes a letter of apology to the Honorable Jim Jordan. I appreciate the committee's interest in content moderation and online platforms. As you're aware, Meta has produced thousands of documents giving you everything you requested. It's almost like Mark knows that there will be a new president in office soon. The same one that just said, any more plots against me may land you in prison. Now, I wonder why Mark Zuckerberg had to put out this letter as quickly as possible. Vox going crazy over the letter. Why now would Mark Zuckerberg flip on free speech? How dare he? They have to do a duck and cover campaign unlike anything I've seen. Mark Zuckerberg letter about Facebook censorship is not what it seems. When you see Vox get this nervous and the establishment get this nervous, oh, they know what's coming. This is not a win for free, and not easy for me to say. Let me try that again. This is not a win for free speech, they state. It's a political grenade. It's interesting, they state, this Vox article, that Zuckerberg decided to dive into the free speech snake pit this week. It's also not surprising that Republicans who have been on a book banning spree at schools nationwide, see how they always flip it, flip the narrative, ignore the narrative, disregard the narrative, lie about the narrative. They do the same thing time and time again. They're propping up old facts. Let's make this old news as quick as we can. This isn't anything new. Well, now they're even going to go against their own. You see how quick they turn on each other. As we enter the final 2 months before the election, there are fewer guardrails for misinformation in place on major social media platforms. And writing a letter about the Biden administration and censorship, Zuckerberg seems to be throwing Republicans a political grenade. Something they could use to fire up the base and use to get mad about Democrats. How dare they? Mark's just helping our enemy, but Mark was our friend a couple weeks ago. In his letter, Zuckerberg acknowledges that the Biden administration pressured the company to censor all kinds of content. We know what the crux of that is. But this is not new news, Fox states. This is old. The Biden administration did pressure Meta. We knew this. Now, at least we'll start admitting the truth. The article goes on, one final statement. Mark Zuckerberg also tells the Judiciary Committee that he won't spend money this election cycle. That's right. No more Zuckerbucks, I guess. What a safety he threw out there. The same man who censored this story more than anything else. We won't forget. I know a lot of you won't forget. What happened when you posted on the Hunter Biden laptop story? Do you recall? Oh, that's right. Nobody saw it. So nobody would know because it was downstacked. And you think suddenly Mark Zuckerberg just had a change of heart when even Trump said, as he sat there at dinner in front of him with his wife, praising him, but then turns around as his own personal little Brutus. Well, he hasn't forgotten. He won't forget. And now issued that chilling warning. He will spend the rest of his life in prison, as will others, if they interfere again. My friends, the table is now turning, and Trump has finally hit his limit. And let's hope and let's pray that he does get into office, because there's a lot that needs to be fixed right now. We love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.